for y'all.
Down in Columbus?
Well, Columbus, I'm right on the Chattahoochee River. I'm right on the border of Alabama. So then you got like to the west, you got Phoenix City is right on the river on the Alabama side. And then a little further, you have a little town called Smith Station. Well, the mayor, who was also like the lead pastor of some Baptist church, come to find out he was a closet drag queen.
Hmm.
And he was getting, he was getting stoned at the stake on social media when it came out like over the weekend that people found out he was doing it. And then he was like just getting crushed. And then they called the police to do like a wellness check on him. And cop was following behind him and he pulls him over. Guy gets out of his car and offs himself right in front of the cop, dude. So the
Wow.
town is like in shambles right now. And I, naturally, the timing of this coincides with me having to go to the East Alabama, like economic update breakfast tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. So really excited about that, Jeff.
You know
Should
what I'm
be,
really excited about, Sprouse?
what's that?
Raiders. The Las Vegas
Oh,
Raiders are back.
gee. See, that's how
Antonio
many times?
Pierce.
No, dude, this is interim head coach. It always happens. It happened with Dan Campbell at the Dolphins,
Yeah, but look at
10
Dan
years.
Campbell now.
Well, yeah, that 10 years later,
No, more
finally,
than 10 years.
finally.
What, 4?
No, dude, when Dan Campbell was interim for the Dolphins, dude, that was like 2012.
No,
I'm telling
not
you.
a chance.
Yes, it was. I still lived in Murfreesboro. I was at the game. They played the Titans the first game.
Huh.
Dan Campbell, Dolphins.
Free Devontae Adams.
Free? What are you talking about? The Irish cannon is dropping bombs now.
Free him.
Dan Campbell.
I
Good
don't think he's
evening,
gotten over
Joe.
50 yards in like a month and a half.
Just stop.
Free him.
Don't worry about him. He'll be fine. He's also being stifled by McDip.
Yeah, 2015, Jeff. 8 years ago.
Yeah, not 2012. Get your facts right.
I mean, a lot closer to 2012 than 4 years ago, 2019.
Oh, no, you're right.
I guess
You're right. You're
guess
right.
about the same.
Yeah, it's about the middle. Now, you ready to kick this thing
You guys
off?
ready
or
to
what?
kick this show off, Jeff? Let's do it, pal. We got some people jumping on, ready to join the live chat with us. We got a big week. We got a huge week. We got a huge 3 weeks left, Jeff.
Boy, Joe Judkins in the live chat, of course. First one in.
I hung out with Joe on Thursday night for a little bit, but
Left his first voicemail of the year, too.
oh boy, wonder what
It's a
he had
good
to
one.
say. He had some things to say about all you guys when I saw him in person. I won't bring those up live on the air, but oh yeah, Joe. Don't hide now, Joe. If you're on the chat,
I think we need to
I
air.
heard
I
what
think
you
we need to
said.
air it out.
I heard what you said. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, all right, Jeff, you ready to crank it up? You just tell me when to go.
Yep, let's do it.
Good evening and welcome into the number one Group of Five football podcast in all of the world. This is the Group of Five guys. If you don't know who we are, our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that the mainstream sports media will not do. We thank you for listening. We thank you for watching, but we need your help. We need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Apple Podcast channel, and Spotify. Tell your family and friends all about us. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys, or you can go to groupof5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag. On this episode, we're going to recap my spontaneous trip over to Troy, Jeff's weekend in Vegas, maybe talk a little Thanksgiving. We might talk a little Christmas, but we got some conference scenarios that are playing out kind of every week. Something new is happening. So we're going to talk about that, talk about scenarios, and make some of our picks for the midweek games. Plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
Lee Corso is a guy who had a retirement party 10 years ago, and yet he still won't leave the office.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible.
That's
The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the group of 5.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
You know, I really appreciate you do for the Group of 5 programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of 5 because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, you know, and fans follow that kid.
I appreciate what you guys do, truthfully, covering the Group of 5. I mean, y'all said it earlier, but the Sun Belt to me is college football.
Jeff, Vegas. How was it? Did you steal any police cars? Did you have a Jaeger bomb shot on the rooftop, or how'd it go? How was the trip?
I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. It was my birthday on Friday, so went out there and just had an absolute fantastic time. Being a part of the Bolitnikoff Foundation dinner was absolutely incredible. For those who don't know, our friends over at Raiders Fan Radio also have a charity foundation called the One Nation Foundation. All the money they raise on their show goes to that foundation, which supports the Bolitnikoff Foundation and other Raider-related charities. But anyways, so Friday night I got to go to that dinner, met Fred Bolitnikoff, Rod Woodson. I mean, just tons of Raider Hall of Famers. And then just got to just meet just a ton of different people there. And that was just, I mean, as far as birthday gifts go, you really can't get much better than that. Got a football signed by Freddie B himself. And then just, raised a bunch of money for a fantastic charity, Tracy's Place of Hope. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. It's a pretty incredible charity. And then Saturday morning, got to make my way, 10-minute drive from the Luxor, where we were staying at, to UNLV. And, man, what a beautiful
Looked incredible
facility. Yeah, they had. I mean, it's only 4 years old, and I got to give a shout out. Reached out to Coach Odom on Twitter. Sprouse, I think he did earlier in the week. He set it up for us. Leah Walker was the recruiting assistant who gave me the tour on her day off when the team's traveling.
Big time.
Was so
on a Saturday.
Nice. Yeah, on a Saturday. Was so nice to open it up and show me around. And I mean, I feel like we're starting to say this more and more, but like legitimately one of the nicest facilities that we've toured. And I mean, just being really not far from the Strip, from downtown Las Vegas. Fantastic weight room. It overlooks their practice field, which is all turf. 2 full-size practice fields, top-notch equipment, training room. They got the aqua therapy room as well. Everything is housed, in that one facility. I think I said it's only 4 years old, I believe. Meeting rooms are top-notch. Their student athlete facility is also in that same building, which I think is really, really smart. And all their advisors are there. Like, they literally do not have to go anywhere.
Keep them there.
Yeah, it keeps them there. They got a full dining room, cafeteria that's, buffet style all day long. And they're the only ones that it's a football only facility. The dining cafeteria is open to other athletes, but that is the only section of that facility that is open to other athletes. So really just top notch. There's no wonder why UNLV is on the rise, especially with Coach Odom as their head coach. Really just honestly blown away. I didn't know what to expect. And then, they play their home games at Allegiant Stadium. They said that's kind of Lisa, that's kind of a little catch-22, because it's so big. It's really hard to fill that place. But
how far is the stadium from campus or from the Strip and everything? Or
15,
is it all
15-20 minutes, depending on traffic. So it's like the other direction from where I was staying. I walked from the Luxor to Allegiant Stadium to go check that out, which was like a 10 or 15 minute walk. So, and then UNLV was the other direction. So, you're talking a 15-minute, 20-minute ride depending on traffic.
Yeah.
But she was saying, it is a huge selling point because they bring recruits not only to the facilities there, practice facilities, then they take them over to Allegiant, and you're just blown away. It's so nice.
Yeah.
They have their own locker room in Allegiant, so they don't have to really cross with the Raider locker room or anything like that. And it's just phenomenal facilities, top to bottom. Campus was really spread out. That was one thing I did not expect. I mean, they got a lot of room out there. So really, really nice campus.
Yeah.
And I mean, Vegas speaks for itself. It's such a fun town. You could stay there a week and not do everything. So,
Yeah.
Appreciate them, Leah showing me around and Coach Odom for setting it up.
Well, it looked sick, man. I mean, the pictures, and then I was Googling some stuff too, and I mean, I saw where they're getting, they're getting a little over 20K on average, I think, at games this year. You'd like to push that up. I think if they continue the winning ways, I think you could start getting 30 to 40,000. And Allegiant is bigger than the Alamo Dome, but I just kind of compare to UTSA, and if you can get just the lower level,
yeah,
I mean, you can make it a really good home field advantage playing in a place like that. And then the other thing, man, like we talk about, I always get on here and talk about FIU and South Florida and all these places. Dude, Vegas, I mean, in playing in the Mountain West, so like you have bigger brand name schools that you're going to play every week in the Mountain West, and then I'm pretty sure all those facilities are funded by, I think I texted the group, I think that's Tillman Fertitta, who's big like casino royalty, I think, over there. So UNLV also big time hospitality school.
Number
So,
one
like,
in the world now.
Yeah, I mean, you always got John Taffer. He's always there doing courses and stuff. So if you want to go, play big time football in big time facilities at an awesome stadium, and also have like not only a good education but like a pretty cool one. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to do something cool, and in that hospitality world, I'll tell you, dude, if I could go back, and I probably wasn't good enough to go to UNLV at any time, even as bad as they've been in the past, but dude, that'd be a top school for me, looking at hospitality and all that stuff. I think that'd be a sweet place to go, man.
Absolutely. And what's interesting too is, you talk about, what they're averaging in attendance. Vegas has every excuse for people to not go to those games. And it helps that they've been, they're on the rise. New coach, they're third in the conference right now, so that definitely helps. People like supporting a winner, but like there's literally anything and everything you want to do.
Yeah, at all times.
Yeah,
every day. Yeah,
nonstop, like from morning to night, all the way through. So, I think it's a great place to be as a student athlete. I would go there in a heartbeat, like you said. And then what's cool too is it seems like not only they play at Allegiant, which is the Raider Stadium, but like their meeting room is the Al Davis meeting room. So obviously there's a connection with the Raiders there, which I think is really cool, and they've donated money to the program.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looked awesome, like I said. And then one more thing you mentioned earlier too, I wanted to shout out Raiders Fan Radio. If you're an NFL fan, especially a Raiders fan, got to give a shout out to those guys because it's kind of weird. They have a lot of guys with the same names as us. So there's another Murph, there's another Jeff, there's a Swag Jeff, there's all kind of, it's just a weird connection. But shout out to those guys. I mean, they're really the ones that helped us figure out, what kind of equipment we needed for this podcast, for the show, and like have helped us kind of go from just being on Twitter to getting to do these live streams and stuff like that. So big shout out to Murph and all those guys at Raiders Fan Radio. Give them a follow on socials and check out their show. I think when do they do their show? Wednesday night, Jeff?
Wednesday nights, yep.
Yeah, it's really good. They do a really good job. So shout out to them. Over the weekend, I mean, I every time I think like, so I was at Troy on Thursday night sitting there, and Chuck was telling his wife, he's like, Sprouse watches a lot of football. And I'm like, dude, yeah, but I think the more that I watch and the more that I think that I know, the more wrong I am about stuff. I mean, I can't get it right on these weekends, dude. I mean, let's talk about it. Surprising things of the weekend. I'm going to start it because I was in shambles early in the day. Air Force. How can we lay an egg against arguably your biggest rival, and you're a win away from the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, locking it down again, and you're in the driver's seat to make a New Year's Bowl, you're at home, you're in the top 25, and you just come out there and sleepwalk through that game. And Army, give credit to Army. I mean, they capitalized on it, but Air Force. What makes Air Force good is no penalties, no turnovers, and boy, they just couldn't keep the ball. I mean, every point that Army scored, I think, was off either a turnover on downs or a turnover inside, on Air Force side of the field, and Army capitalized on most of them. I mean, 2 picks for Larrier, 2 lost fumbles, another fumble on a 4th and short that turned it back over on downs, and then Eldridge had a lost fumble. I mean, you just don't see that from them. So, I'm confident they'll bounce back, and they still got the Mountain West right in front of them. But man, dude, it is the group of 5 curse. It is. The minute they get ranked, just a collapse. And I'm telling everybody, I'm having a yard sale. I'm telling everybody that I used to go there. I used to play at Air Force. I'm talking about how Air Force is so good this year. Are they the real deal? I thought they didn't play anybody. I'm like, dude, they are the real deal. I promise nobody wants to see them. And then by 3:00 in the afternoon, I was like, man, just an all-time collapse. So that was the most surprising for me. Really disappointed in that performance. But what do you got, Tip? I'm gonna go to you. I hadn't gone to you yet, Tip. What was the most surprising storyline from you for the weekend?
I'm gonna have to go with Tulane only beating ECU by 3 points, and not only that, having to come back and beat them.
Yeah.
But credit to them for making the comeback and for getting the win. I mean, a win is a win, but it just doesn't look great for us. We got Tulane ranked 24th in the country, and I know East Carolina's a tough place to play, and they got down early, got down 10-0 early, but just not a good look when you're beating a 1-7 team by 3 points. But credit to Tulane, they did get the win. They got the job done. On to the next week. I do have something else that's kind of a storyline. It is kind of the season almost, and that's kind of the debate. We can either talk about it's not football related. We can either talk about it now or wait till after.
Well, let me get Jeff's surprise for the weekend, and then we'll come back to this, Tip. Jeff, biggest surprise for the weekend.
Well, to piggyback real quick off a Tip, I think another storyline too after that game over the weekend. Shout out Michael Pratt gets the first invite to the Senior Bowl. So, and I think that's much deserved. So, shout out to him.
Wait for the Senior Bowl this year. Cannot wait. And we're not going to make the mistake of going at the end of the week. Yeah, we're going to see some jam band in the middle of the night, Jeff. You can go see some live band for 4 hours. We'll go at the beginning of the week, do it for business, and then get out of there. But go. What's your surprise, Jeff?
All right, my surprise of the week. I'm going to go to my San Marcos Bobcats. I mean, putting a beat down on a very good Georgia Southern team who was in the driver's seat in the East to host. I mean, they beat them 45-24. TJ Finley had a monster game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. And then Joey Hobart continues to just be the dominant factor on the outside for that team. They took care of business, and they're still, they need some help for in the West to make a run at it. But that just kind of shocked me. I thought that game was going to be a whole lot closer. To credit Texas State bouncing back and just getting a huge conference win.
I'll tell you, man, Georgia Southern is a completely different team at home versus on the road. And a lot of that's due to their crowds have been great. So, Tip, where were you going here? What'd you have coming for us?
So this is kind of a hot debate this time of year. And so I got to bring it up because I noticed something yesterday. Yep. I noticed it yesterday. And so I had to bring it up tonight. So I'm taking my kids Monday morning, into their daycare. And in the lobby of the daycare, a Christmas tree has been set up over the weekend. Boy. So I have to ask, I'll ask you guys, and then everyone that's out there on YouTube, put in your comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Today is November 7th. Sprouse, let's start with you. Do you have any Christmas decorations up at your house?
Well, Tip, let me give you a rundown. The way that I was raised was the day after Thanksgiving, you decorate the house for Christmas.
Amen. I
believe in my heart of hearts that we as a society have just completely skipped over Thanksgiving, which is one of the better. I mean, I think Thanksgiving is a top 2 holiday. And we have just disregarded it. Now, I say all of that to tell you that I came home today from a hard day at the office, and there was a wreath on my front door.
Oh no!
And I
Fall
walked
wreath?
in that.
Thanksgiving
Oh
wreath?
no! Oh no! It's green.
Oh,
It is
no.
evergreen with a little bit of the white froth, pine cones on it. I walked in the house. We got I don't know where we're getting new decor, because we now have a second Christmas tree a smaller Christmas tree that's sort of in our entry to our home, and then we have our main Christmas tree in the living area. I mean, our mantle has, the stockings are up. I mean, we're not done outside other than the wreath. So I got in the driveway. I texted one of our neighbors. I said, hey, buddy, can I borrow that ladder this weekend? He's like, you going Christmas lights already? I'm like, yeah, dude. But last year I paid I honestly, I don't do I'm a risk taker. So I didn't pay some professional company to do my lights. I just paid a couple dudes with a truck and a ladder to do my lights. And it was a little sketchy. They were like belaying over. I got a big steep part over my garage. So I'm going to borrow the neighbor's extension ladder probably this weekend, and I'm going to try to get my fat ass up there by myself and do the lights, but we'll see how it goes. But I went long-winded there, Tip. I believe it should be the day after Thanksgiving, but I am not going to lie to anybody and say that I didn't come home today, and there is a wreath on that front door. We're still eating leftover candy. I mean, in Thanksgiving, like we didn't, my wife decorates the mantle over our little fireplace, like by the season. She does like the spring, and then the summer, it's kind of like a beachy looking thing. And then we do the fall, but that poor fall decor. I mean, it didn't last, but like a couple weeks, and we're already ready for Christmas. And then it's probably not coming down till after the new year.
No, you got to wait till after Thanksgiving.
You do. I'm with you, man.
There will not be a single Christmas item in my house or outside of my house until the day after Thanksgiving. That is a rule. Yeah. We're trying to. I just can't stand it. As an Italian American, they're trying to just get rid of Christopher Columbus altogether. They're trying to get rid of Thanksgiving. No, Thanksgiving's going to have its day.
Yeah.
And for all these people that already just have their Christmas decorations up. You know what it reminds me of? Guys, you know what it reminds me of?
What's that, Jeff?
We're like watching sausage being made. It's just a horrifying experience.
I mean, it's just horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying when I go by people's houses and they got trees up. Let Thanksgiving have its day.
Can I give myself and my family a little bit of an excuse? See, we're hosting Thanksgiving with my wife's family, so we probably will not see them for Christmas. So part of it is we're going to kind of celebrate the Christmas time, and then of course Christmas, I'm taking my talents to South Beach where we do palm trees and nightlight and and neon lights. We don't do Christmas trees and LED lights, Jeff. Yeah, so that's part of why we're doing it a little early, because we got family coming. It's going to be a big.
I got you.
Big extravagant. Look, I'm disappointed too, Jeff. I still wanted to have pumpkins out in front. We didn't, dude. Our pumpkins were on the front porch for like a day and a half. Fresh carved jack-o'-lanterns with a candle in there. I had a couple haystacks. I just planted my fall flowers, and here we are. We're putting wreaths and reindeer in the front damn yard. My electric bill now for 3 months is going to go over the top. So anyway, Tip, what are your thoughts on this? You're always the rational guy.
I'm in the exact same boat as Murph. As soon as Halloween's over, now the fall decorations are about to be put throughout the house. And then the day after Thanksgiving is when we put the tree up. And it's when, sometime that weekend, that Thanksgiving weekend, that's when I'll be outside putting the lights up and all the decorations and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, here's another question. Do you guys go real Christmas tree or fake?
Real.
Fake.
Gotta have the
See, I used to be.
Smell of the real.
Jeff, we'd get it, dude. You hike out there in the woods with your shirt off and an axe and chop down.
I'm gonna start filming it. Maybe I'll go viral.
I used to be a real tree guy because I like the smell, but lately.
And then we burn it in the spring.
Big bonfire. Yeah.
Pre-lit tree from Hobby Lobby. It's the way to go.
It's definitely easier.
pre-lit, and then we add to it. We had our tree, like when I grew up, like our real tree would just have like, I mean, it was typical like 90s, right? Like just like the random ass ornaments
Oh
like
yeah.
all over the thing and like the colorful lights. Now our tree is like themed, and every year my wife, she changes the color. We did a dark blue one year, we did a pinkish one year. Now I think this year we're going like a neutral color tree. I so that what that means for
Gender
me is,
neutral tree. I like it.
well, it's 2023. We gotta see what they really want to do. But now what that means for me is my attic has bins for each color, and every year we have to add to it. We can't just put the same tree up. We gotta get new decor. Hobby Lobby and Target and Walmart are making a killing off of the Sprouse family right now, which is why I got to try to get up on the roof by myself, because I can't afford to pay, some lighting company $500 to go on my roof for an hour. Anyway, what are people saying? Are anybody saying anything
Man, it's just Joe right now going back and forth. He's a big.
What's Joe do?
Oh, he's after Thanksgiving. Got to let Thanksgiving have its day. Yeah, I mean it's.
Listen, so let me talk about Troy real fast. So, dude, spontaneous trip for me. So literally, I wake up Thursday morning, and Lauren's like, "Do you got to watch football tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, do I?" We got a Sunbelt West showdown tonight happening in Troy, and she was like, "Oh, is it at Troy?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." She's like, "Are you going?" And I was like, that to me sounded like permission, is what I heard there. So I was like, I am now. Yeah. So then I, sent out a few text messages, figured it all out, got up there. Didn't get up there as early as I thought, but I got up there. Dude, great student showing. Great student showing. And they talked about it. They made the whole week, they made that game. They wanted it to be about the students. You can't tell me it didn't make a difference in the game. I mean, Troy looked pretty good. South is they're just so inconsistent. Now I'll say this: Carter Bradley was hurt. The little freshman quarterback Gio Lopez, that dude's going to be a problem for the Sun Belt if he stays around, because there was multiple plays where he got hit. I mean, they had him wrapped up in the backfield, and he would escape, eyes downfield, find somebody, make a good throw. So I'll say that about South. They're in good hands if that guy sticks around. And then for Troy, dude, we talk about the defense. Chris Lewis, this receiver they got,
Animal.
well, you have 4 catches, 3 of them were touchdowns.
120 yards.
Yeah, and he's a throw it up in the air, just see what happens kind of guy. He's not the little quick guy. He's tall and long. But man, I mean, he had that coming out part. I think he had that big catch against Kansas State in week 2, and he started getting a little recognition. But man, that guy's big time, fan favorite for sure. Everybody that I was sitting with loves him. So awesome. But I did get to go over to Joe's tailgate. See, they come up from the Florida Panhandle, Navarre, Shalimar area. I mean, they bring fresh grouper. And they had fried grouper, they had hush puppies, and I don't know what the hell they're putting in their hush puppies, but they were the sweetest hush puppies I've ever had, and they were big time. I mean, big time. And so I didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked to with those guys at that tailgate, but great food, man. Over at the Alumni House, Troy. If you ever find your way to a Troy game, there's a little house kind of across the street from the stadium. That's where you're going to find your best tailgate, your best food. So big shout out there. And then Troy pretty much put South Alabama out of it. I mean, Troy is going to need a lot to happen for them to not be in the championship, and really for them to not host the championship game. So the only way I think they wouldn't host is if somehow James Madison gets this thing cleared, which boy, they are fighting tooth and nail to get this thing.
They sent another
waived.
letter to the NCAA.
We talk about it enough. We don't need to. But anyway, so we talked about surprising storylines. Tell you another storyline, Jeff, this transfer portal. You get Boise State's receiver, Eric McAllister, transferred right after the game, pretty much, which that's where it's weird to me. A little part of me gets after the season, after the spring, you kind of have some downtime, but like the day after a game, when did he enter the portal? When did he Like
It's just
clearly
weird.
he's got a destination lined up.
The
I
whole
mean,
situation is just is odd and weird to me. And then, like, it's his life. He can do what he wants.
Yeah.
Just to me personally, like, you play football with your brothers, right? Like, these are guys that you go to, mat drills, spring ball, summer workouts, like all this. You invest so much time in these teams. It's like Boise State's not completely out of it. Like, they're a long shot maybe to win the conference, but they're not out of it. They still make a bowl game. And you just say, like, I'm done. I don't like the look. And clearly there's somewhere he already wants to go. And I've seen, people on Twitter saying, they want to see him down back home near Texas and see him in purple. And it's just like, so TCU?
Yeah.
Is that who's been out on the phone? And then, we got sources all around the country. And it seems like Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, some players down there are reaching out to some schools up in the Northeast that are Group of 5 schools. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is...
Well, Jeff, I'll tell you what they're doing. Me and you are buddies, right? We went to high school together. Let's just pretend here. You go to one school, I go to another school, and my coach is like, hey, Sprouse, what's up with your boy Murph over there at Middle Tennessee? And then I say, I don't know. Let me call him. I call him. I call you. You answer. I say, here he is, coach. I mean, that's what's happening right now. And
I just hate it.
And if you want to know, if you want to know the names that are doing it, look at the schools poaching. Look at the schools getting all the kids out of nowhere. Middle of the season. They have got to get this thing under control, because you're just, you're screwing everybody else up, man. We talked about it last week with Caleb Williams over at USC. Like, if he quits, like, or transfers or whatever he's going to do, like, you're putting all your other guys, you're limiting their exposure. Like, you're playing with their money.
I just don't understand it, and I get money. Like, people, you're going to get paid $100,000 to go somewhere. Yeah. Like, by all means, it's your life. I'm not going to tell you not to make your money, but you got to think, like, if you're trying to make it to the NFL and you're an NFL, like, caliber type player, you need film. You need plays on the field against any type of competition. And you look at, guys like Tank Dell. That guy stayed at Houston, balled out, and now he's crushing it for the Texans. And then you got a guy like Zachary Franklin, who leaves San Antonio last year, goes to Ole Miss. You want to know what his stats are? 4 catches for 38 yards and 1 touchdown so far.
Sounds like a first quarter at UTSA.
That's for the season, right?
That's for the season.
Well, and like, it's also weird to me, like, a little part of, and I think most people would feel this way, but I'll speak for myself. Like, if I felt slighted by a team, like coming out of high school or coming out of JUCO or whatever, like, I don't think that I would, like, it's almost like they're making them try out. Like, hey, go to, Boise State for a year. Let's see how you do. And then we'll offer you. Like, it's like, to me, that I just don't like it, man. I don't like it at all. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what you do as a Group of 5 school, because you're not going to have, and Boise State probably has some NIL money. So
I would think.
So I don't know what you do. I mean,
they're saying Avalos is just, he's kind of lost the team, as what some people are saying on Twitter, and they're like, there possibly might have been an incident. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well,
I mean, it's all hearsay at this point.
And that could be, but you got like 2 games left, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just like, you're not going to go play at the next place you go, like, in these next 2 weeks. So why not ride it out with your brothers, man? And
it should be kind of how it is, where we've talked about with the coaching. Like, you shouldn't be able to tamper at all. Well, I mean, I guess that is the rule. They're just circumventing the rule, finding loopholes.
They're just doing it.
Yeah.
Well, and you got, if it's somebody that's going to go back home, right? You got all your high school buddies. You got your high school coach, right? How easy would this be? And this is, I'm just thinking out loud right now. How easy would this scenario be if I'm the rumors TCU, right? If I'm Sonny Dykes and I'm recruiting at his old high school, and I just say, man, we'd love to have McAllister over here. And the high school coach is tight with him. He said, hey, dude, TCU said they want you. They'd like to take a shot on you. Oh, really? How much money are they going to give me? I mean,
It's basically what kids are asking.
this is like watching a freaking drug cartel movie. Like all the shady, corrupt stuff that's happening, all the behind the scenes, under the table handshakes, behind closed doors deals that are happening. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, for the NCAA, and then I don't know. You got Connor Stallions in the stands everywhere. I don't know. Anyway, man, give me a bandwagon. Give me a bandwagon you're on or a bandwagon you're off, Jeff. Who you got?
Bandwagon that I am on is UNLV, especially after seeing
Yep.
their facilities and then putting up 56 points. I know it's New Mexico. 56
Yeah, big
points.
bounce back win for them
Yeah,
too.
is a ton of points, which was our lock of the week last week. Great call, boys. But Mayava continues to just get better and put up numbers. 247 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. And we haven't mentioned his name, but he's had a bunch of big games this year. Their receiver, Ricky White, he is a stud. 8 receptions, 165 yards, and 2 tugs. He's their leading receiver. Keep an eye out for him. And then bandwagon that I'm officially off of, and I'm with you, Sprouse. You mentioned this last week. I think Marshall's packing it in. I mean,
toast.
Cam Fancher, 3 interceptions last week. You just can't do it. You can't turn the ball over that much. They've been doing it all year. The defense is still, playing tough, but man, Marshall, we talked about that tough schedule that they had middle of the
They're
way.
0 for 4.
They're 0 for 4.
They had 7-game stretch, and we were like, can they get through it at 5-2? Well, they're 0-4, so not looking good. Tip, what about you, man?
So it's not a bandwagon that I'm off necessarily. It's a team that I'm worried about right now. And you briefly mentioned them earlier, Sprouse, but it's Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I think this week they'll beat Hawaii, but then they play UNLV at home and then at Boise State. It just they just looked unbeatable all year, and then Army goes to Air Force and shows now on film like how to beat them basically. And I know Air Force turned the ball over and things like that, but this team's now beatable, and there is a chance that they lose to UNLV and to Boise State. They
And then
have
they're
2
out.
losses and they're out. They don't
Yep.
even make the conference championship game.
Yep.
So that's a team that I'm worried about. But man, I mean, it's a 3-team race right now in the Mountain West, and it's going to be an incredible finish however way it goes. A wagon that I'm back on, it's Appalachian State, okay?
Oh, bingo.
Listen,
Okay.
we are back, baby.
Yep.
Listen. And the East right now, the Sun Belt East is wide open. There is a chance that App State, they do need some help. They need Coastal Carolina to lose because they lost to Coastal head-to-head. But there is a chance for App State to win the Sun Belt East and to probably go to Troy unless something happens with Troy. But with as wide open as the East is right now, you have Coastal, Georgia Southern, App State, all with 2 losses. And App State still has to play Georgia Southern this year. So if you get Coastal and App both have to play James Madison. So there's going to be a lot of shakeup for sure in that East. But I'm just saying there is a chance. App State's won 2 in a row. They're got the momentum going at the right time of the season. There is a chance that they could win the East.
Yeah, I mean, really, I hate to say all they would have to have, like, if we assume that both App and if we assume James Madison beats both App and Coastal, and then if App finds a way to beat Georgia Southern,
Coastal would have to lose to Texas State, and that game's this week.
But then they would all have 3 losses, right?
That would be 4. So Coastal has 2 more conference games.
Yeah.
Texas State at Coastal, and then James Madison at Coastal. So Coastal would have to lose both of those to have 4 losses.
But
because if they both have 3, because you're saying if James Madison beats App, then that's 3 losses for App. So if you have a 3-loss App State team and a 3-loss Coastal Carolina would get the tiebreaker because they beat them head-to-head.
However, if that happens, you would also have a 3-loss Georgia Southern team, and you would have the tiebreaker scenario, which who knows? I mean, that's it. Yeah, I got to do it, Jeff. I'm sorry. Like this James Madison thing. We're
Here
just
we go.
well, hold on. We're just handing them the last 3 weeks of the season.
I'm not.
Like
I've said
no,
it.
I know, but like in their letter, they're talking about going to a New Year's Bowl, and it's like, dude, you still got like some pretty big games left on your schedule.
Yeah, they
so,
do.
And
they just
I
lost
think
their best
and they
defensive.
just lost their best defensive player. We talked
Yep.
about it, the other day, Jeff. I think it might have been off the air, but that injury bug is starting to hit James Madison a little bit. They got a couple of linemen that are hurt. Now their best defensive lineman and best pass rushers hurt. Yeah, everybody's got injuries this time of year, but Jalen Green has been a nightmare for anybody to block, and he's out. So, yeah, I don't know. I just the whole thing, dude. I can't do it. Anyway, by the way, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, go over to the YouTube chat. It's a lot more fun over there. I feel like we normally get more people in the YouTube chat. It's a live chat, and I think Jeff stays on it pretty good as far as
Yeah, we got some new people in there that haven't seen before. Obviously, Joe Judkins is in there. Delay Traver, I don't know, I'm probably mispronouncing that. I apologize. Josh J23 is in there. Seth Garcia is in there. So yeah, it's got some good back and forth, some new blood we hadn't seen before. So come on over to YouTube live chat. A lot of good stuff that's going on in there, and really trying to pump up those YouTube numbers. So it'd help us out.
Yeah, big time. And make sure when you go over there, subscribe to the channel. Everybody that's in there watching, please just click the subscribe button. It ain't hard. But so let's talk some scenarios. We talked about them a little bit in the American. So the American's a little more available, for everybody than I was originally thinking. So Tulane plays UTSA in the final week of the season. Now, UTSA plays Rice this weekend, huh?
Yep.
So that's a little bit scary because Rice.
They've been playing teams.
Yeah, and
tough.
Rice gave SMU everything they could handle.
And Tulane as well.
Yeah, so you got that game, but then either way, even if UTSA were to lose that game, they would still have the opportunity to win the head-to-head versus Tulane. And then SMU plays Memphis next week, and Memphis boy put up damn near 60 points this weekend, and what's their loss? They lost to Tulane and Missouri. Is that it right now?
I believe so. They're 4-1 in conference. Yeah.
I mean, so you lost a pretty good game to Tulane, and I mean, it's looking like Missouri's pretty damn good. I mean, Missouri gave Georgia quite a bit this weekend. So look out for Memphis now. SMU's been rolling. Their schedule laid out nicely for them.
But I don't know what the tiebreaker scenario would be. So for Memphis, they would obviously have to beat SMU, and then they would jump SMU because of the head-to-head win. Since Memphis lost to Tulane, I don't know how the tiebreaker would work, but I think they would need Tulane to beat UTSA, so UTSA has one conference loss, but they didn't play against UTSA. Didn't play Memphis this year, so you'd have UTSA and Memphis both lost to Tulane, both with one loss in the conference. I don't know how that tiebreaker would work, but one of those two teams in that scenario would play Tulsa in the championship game.
What's crazy is
Tulane, not Tulsa. Tulane.
What's probably going to happen is you're going to have 3 5-0 teams at the end of the season, right at that last week, and then UTSA plays Tulane. So Tulane, who's led the conference pretty much the entire year, like if they get knocked off that last game and they're not in.
Yep. Yeah, that's if SMU beats Memphis in next week.
Yeah.
So if SMU beats Memphis, then it's comes down to that game. It's wild, man. But but that's why these conferences are doing this every top 2 teams deal, because you wouldn't want to they want to have your 2 undefeated in conference teams play instead of you get one team that's undefeated, another team's got 3 losses. So but at the same regard though, like let's say you're UTSA and you lose to Tulane and that's it, and you don't get in, and SMU, who didn't have to play Tulane, or UTSA. I mean, that's just bad luck. I mean, you never
luck of the
know
draw.
what season which team is going to be that team. So, but yeah, so in the American, it's shaping up pretty good. But Tulane barely got that win. We talked about it. Memphis put up 59 points. I almost jumped back on the South Florida bandwagon. I mean, for them to put up 50 is pretty impressive too.
Well, what I was going to say is you mentioned Memphis. Yeah. If they don't have those 2 turnovers in that game, they might have beaten Memphis. I mean, Byron Brown continues to just put up gaudy numbers, 357 yards passing, 5 touchdown passes. He did have the pick, and then also led the team in rushing with 100 yards. So this kid is dynamic.
Yeah,
curious to see if he hangs around down in South Florida after the season's done.
Yeah, I mean, you always look at I think he's from that area, so you always look at the other local schools, and you sit there and you look at University of Florida, and you're like, ooh, they need a quarterback. You look at Miami, you're like, ooh, they need a quarterback. You look at, and so that's when it gets scary, because you have a guy that maybe wanted to play at one of those schools growing up. They got a little money. They pretty much hand them the starting job and say, look, they'll sell them. If you come here, we'll be a national championship contender. And so that's what you got to hope for there. And dude, we talk about UAB and FAU. We've been talking about them both all season, that we just depends on which one shows up. But great game, shootout. I mean, Jacob Zeno had a career day.
Yep.
He's another one, Jeff.
Yeah, he's another one that just, you don't know which one you're going to get. A lot of it depends on, the matchups and who they're playing, but huge performance by him and Tajon Palmer. I mean, he is a big play receiver, 9 catches, 180 yards and a tug. I mean, just get that guy the ball. He's going to take it the distance. So, and Daniel Richardson for FAU didn't play that bad either.
Yeah.
So, no defense played in this game.
Not a lot of defense happening there. Not a ton of defense. SMU and Rice either. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier. SMU offensively is big. SMU this season, their defense has been really good. I mean, they're one of the top scoring defenses in the country. But Rice was able to. They're just loaded. They got weapons, man. Navy is in shambles. So unfortunately for Air Force, I think that Army is going to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy at like 4-8.
It's wild.
Think about that for a second. They're going to have wins at Air Force, versus Navy, and I don't even know who else. UTSA, they beat UTSA. So weird with Army, but EJ Warner lit up Navy. He had a big game. And then UTSA, we've been talking about. North Texas is tough. They're just not there yet. They're not on the level of these top teams. But UTSA, man, ever since they got into conference play, they just figured it out, huh?
Yep, just getting wins, and it wasn't Frank Harris didn't have a great game. Scavorian Barnes had a great running performance, had 2 touchdowns. So they're just getting wins. North Texas just can't stop a nosebleed. Another 37 points given up. That's just hard to overcome every single game.
And then how about it, guys? The Charlotte 49ers. You'll see Biff Poggi dancing in the locker room. That guy took his coaching shirt off like halfway through the game and had his little sleeveless on.
Did you say Biff Poggi, Sprouse?
We're like watching sausage being made. It's just a horrifying experience.
That's my favorite soundbite of all time.
He's great. Did you ever get feedback on that salami stick you gave that guy?
No, I never heard back from him.
What?
I ate my whole Calabrese stick of salami and never even heard from him.
Man, but good win, man. I know it's Tulsa, but you have a statement made, on the culture of the locker room by suspending a bunch of guys who are probably your more talented players, and you get a win. You could find a way to win.
And you were down 17-0 early.
That's
in that
exactly
game. You come
right.
back and win.
That's exactly right. That shows a lot about the guys you had in there that didn't give up. And sometimes, man, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but sometimes those guys that are doing the stupid penalties and stuff all the time, they're also the guys that when you get down a touchdown, they start moping around on the sideline. That's when they start doing their stupid penalties when a little tiny bit of adversity hits. So shout out to Charlotte for that win. Couldn't be happier for that fan base. They needed that. Guys, if I told you you were going to have a conference championship game between the New Mexico State Aggies and the Liberty Flames in Lynchburg, Virginia. I mean, obviously that's the game. This weekend is your game in Conference USA, Western Kentucky and New Mexico State. And the way that Western has looked as of late, I'm not putting it past. I like New Mexico State. Honestly, I do. I just don't like what Western's too inconsistent for me. I mean, New Mexico, I know they didn't look very good against our Blue Raiders, but we've been talking about the Blue Raiders all year. They're one touchdown worse than everybody that they play. So,
yeah, and their defense has been playing good all year, so it didn't surprise me that they held, New Mexico to 13 points. But like you said, Western has not looked great
no.
either, and Austin Reed didn't, have the normal great stats that he's used to against UTEP. They only won by a touchdown, so I mean, to me, this game could go either way. It's which team shows up and which team, on offense makes the biggest plays.
Where's that game at?
It's at Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
It's at
It's
Western.
at Western.
Western's got a lot of, we've talked about it before, they've got a lot of the same problems as Middle has. So you're going to have a fan base that's unhappy, even though you're literally playing for a conference title at home, essentially, this weekend. So I hope the people of Bowling Green show up for that team because, again, like, if you're in the group of 5 this season and you're not Tulane or, I mean, maybe Troy, you're the most that you can do is win a conference, win your conference. And so that's still out there for these teams. So I don't like when fan bases jump off the wagon because they're not undefeated when it's like, the expectation or the goal really is a conference championship, and that's right in front of you, and you control your own destiny at home. So I just plead with the people of Western Kentucky that they show up for that team. But Liberty, Clint, I mean, they're hosting. It is official. They are hosting on a Friday in December. I don't know, guys. Might have to. I've been looking.
Might have to
I've been
make
looking.
our way up there.
We got to figure out if is Zach Green. Is he available? We got to figure out what's the best way to get there. Do you fly somewhere, or do you have to drive? Do they have a decent hotel? Because I'm really good at booking hotels and I can do it, but
stay far away from the
hotel. But are there brand name? Well, Tip, you'll book it the day before the game. It will be stuck 2 hours. Maybe Murph needs.
I'll book it right now.
To this thing. No.
Book it. We'll do it live.
But yeah, we need to know what's the best route. Stay in an Airbnb. What part of town? Where do we stay in? Brand name hotels. Do they have those, or are we going to be at the Poplar Inn? That's what we got to check out in Lynchburg, and we will try our best to make that trip happen. And then we got to figure out if it's even possible to get anywhere else for the next day. So that's what we're dealing with right now. The rest of the conference, Sam Houston got their first win over
Good for them.
future Conference USA mate Kennesaw State. So that's interesting there. Jacksonville State, I'll tell you what, man. I like how I tweeted out that about like the score early in that game, and everyone's like, well, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't be too excited about being tied with the worst team in the SEC. It's like, well,
is this the same group of people that were talking? What's their quarterback? What's South Carolina's quarterback?
Spencer Rattler.
It's Rattler.
But that's the point. That's the whole point. That it's not the entire conference, the SEC. Like, it's a couple of teams, and it's not like Jacksonville State is the greatest Group of 5 team ever either. Like, so, I mean, tell me this: you put James Madison against South Carolina, you put Liberty against South Carolina, put Tulane against South Carolina. These are all teams that would beat like that. I don't know. It's just the point just went way over everybody's head, I think, on that. It's like, the point is, just because they're in the SEC doesn't mean that they're that much better than everybody else. That's the only point that I had. But of course, it got people up in arms.
I mean, South Carolina had some like big throws. Like, I watched most of that game. I mean, they had some big plays in that game, but Jacksonville State was the better team. I mean, they were down 3. They were down 3, driving late in the fourth. They're inside. I think they're inside South Carolina's like 15 or 10 yard line, and then throws a pick 6. I mean, just a brutal ending for Jacksonville State, but especially just how well they were playing in that game. You know, you hate to see them lose that game, but again, give them credit. This is a brand new team to Conference USA, and I mean, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. They've had a great year.
No, and I wonder if any of the politicians in the state of Alabama have drafted up two-page essays to the NCAA. I think they have. Weird. By the way, so let's go to the MAC. Couple MACtion games on right now. Ball State and Northern Illinois are tied at 10. Northern Illinois pissed me off this past week, huh? Right in front of you, they got a chance to go to Toledo next week, and then they just drop a game to Central Michigan. Although Central Michigan is not a bad ball club. They're tied at 10 right now with Ball State. Western Michigan is getting all after Central Michigan. And then Buffalo's up 3-0. About to go into halftime. It might be 6-0. I think they're about to kick a field goal, but
he missed it. 55-yard field goal, missed it. 3-0.
Okay.
But I know we've talked about it previously, but a team that I'm off the bandwagon, and I can't remember who mentioned it a podcast or two ago, but Ohio. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this team.
Their offense is just becoming inept.
Yeah.
It's weird. Why? But by the way, speaking of that Western Michigan game, though, did you see their student section? I can't remember. Somebody tweeted it out. Somebody on Twitter I saw posted it. It's just like they're not going to win that conference. It's Tuesday night. God knows what the temperature is over there. But their students showed up. Like that's we just got to figure out why, right? Why did they show up? But why at the Northern Illinois game is there nobody there? That's the crazy thing. And I mean, like the excuses of people, man. For again, we say it all the time. I'd rather people just say like, don't really care about it, but they always make excuses. We want a passionate coach. Okay, here's Sean Elliott, most passionate coach probably in football. Well, yeah, but the team sucks. Okay, well, here's Georgia State, right? Conference right in front of them. Still nobody shows up. I know they're in Atlanta. And then you have the same thing. You talk about Louisiana's been good forever. Still can't get fans to show up. And I saw somebody on Louisiana's Facebook talking about firing Dez already. Dude, there's a big difference between getting a new coach as like we fired our coach and we brought in a new guy versus a guy that's a legend that builds an entire program essentially, and then he leaves on his own and you got to replace him. Big difference as far as replacing, recruits, replacing the staff. You got to replace the whole staff, and it just, I don't know, man. And then you got people talking about tickets are too expensive, and there's all kinds of excuses. Yeah, and you're always going to have one. And the truth is, most people just don't want to go, which, hey, look, it's fine so long as they would just come out and say it.
Yeah. Well, looking at the MAC games for tomorrow, can't be tickets are too expensive because it says tickets as low as $5 at Akron at Miami tomorrow. So
at Miami,
right? Yeah, Akron at Miami. They're in, right? As long as they win out, their schedule's pretty.
I think Buffalo could potentially. I mean, yeah. If they win out, they're in. Yeah. But they would need. I think if they lost, I don't know.
If Buffalo wins tonight, I mean, Buffalo goes to Miami in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But they got Akron, Buffalo, and Ball State.
And who's Buffalo? Buffalo still has to play somebody else good too, huh? I think
they have
obviously Ohio tonight, and Buffalo's got
Ohio tonight at Miami, and then they host Eastern Michigan.
Oh well, they lost it. Well, then they lost to Toledo last week.
Yeah, they did.
So how many losses do they have?
2
in conference.
2. Yeah, 2 in conference. But I'm saying if they win tonight,
they beat Miami,
they'll be 4-2. If they beat Miami, both teams are 4-2, and Buffalo has the head-to-head wins.
Right. Yeah. Look out. But okay, so there you go. Miami, Oxford, Brick Street, Bar, buddy. It's Wednesday, dude. Like your team is going to be in the conference championship if they win. call me crazy, but I like surely you get people that spend more money and drink more beer and all that after a big win, right?
You'd think.
Surely you get more alumni or, idiots like us in there that are probably going to like tip better and spend better. I don't know about spend more, because I bet those college kids drink like crazy, but like, people are going to spend like real money in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just
Go to the
baffling,
game.
dude. Go to the game. Yeah, students just boycott it, dude. Boycott the bar until after the game. You'll be in there by 11 o'clock. You got like
When it
3
really
good
gets
hours.
cranked up anyways.
Yeah, that's when they start playing the good music anyway. And it's not like there's anything that's going to be like on. There's not going to be any other games to watch at 7 p.m. other than the one that you should be at. So I don't know. But Mountain West, we talked about it earlier. Air Force is still right there. I mean, that loss did nothing for them as far as the Mountain West, other than make everybody worried that they're not as good as we thought. So they're still in a good spot. Fresno State's in a really good spot, and they don't have to play each other. So that's good. San Jose State, I think, would have to beat Fresno State and UNLV, and then UNLV pretty much has to win out, which is Wyoming, Air Force, and San Jose State. So it's going to be that Mountain West is a little more wide open because San Jose State has a little bit of a shot, and there's so many good teams that they could all, Wyoming can mess around and beat anybody. Boise couldn't mess around and beat anybody.
Well, if Air Force shows up like they did against Army last week,
they'll lose
to anybody.
Yeah, they'll lose the rest of the way. I know. But yeah, I mean, that was a bad performance. That Wyoming Colorado State game, Wyoming got another win. Hawaii got the win against Nevada. UNLV, Jeff, you talked about it. I mean, they just came out big time bounce back win for them. I mean, I am buying on that UNLV stock right now. And then Utah State, San Diego State just continues to be bad. I mean, that is a program that is not in a very good spot. I would be selling on San Diego State right now. So I don't know what they got to do. And then Boise State, Fresno State, great game. If you're Boise State, though, how in the hell do you give up a kickoff return for a touchdown with 0 seconds on the clock in the first half? I mean, you're getting ready to go into the half with some momentum, down a field goal, and you let Sherrod just freaking run right through your kickoff team. And then your kicker, poor guy, I mean, he tried. He hit him as hard as he could, and Sherrod just didn't even go off stride.
Didn't budge.
Right down the sideline for a touchdown and gets all the momentum right back.
How about that guy, though? Sherrod.
Oh, he's a dog, man.
95-yard kick return and had another 132 on the ground with a touchdown. He's a good player. Good ball player. Mikey Keene's looking pretty good, too.
How about that Fresno State? Yeah, I would say they're the favorite right now. I mean, I think they've,
which is crazy considering how much they've lost last year. Like all the skill positions that they lost.
I know.
I mean, that's just shout out to Jeff Tedford being able to replace guys, get their players to buy in. Man,
well,
he's such a good coach.
Shout out to their fans too, because that's one of few places. I'll say this, even at places that have like pretty good crowds, your mid to upper 20,000 crowds. Like when there's a big play, you still don't really hear that pop on TV, right? Like you just hear like claps and one loud lady screaming or something like that. Usually, like you don't hear much. Like Fresno, like on that touchdown return, that place was going nuts.
Yeah,
I mean that is a big time place to play.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just a great environment. And then Tedford earlier in the week was like, he's like, I love the Red Wave. They do a great job. He's like, and they're always loud on third down. He's like, we need you guys loud on first down, second down. Like all of it makes a difference. Don't just be loud on third down. So he understands how important that. Guys, the crowd is so important. Like everybody wants to know, like, what can I do? Get your ass to the game and yell.
I'm telling you, man. It truly makes a difference. Anybody that thinks it doesn't is an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. And like, we talked about that at Troy because the students were there at kickoff and we were sitting there and we were like, man, I hope they don't leave at halftime, because we were talking about that, like the feeling as a player, if you come out at halftime and you're like, oh, everybody left. It's demoralizing. It just is. Maybe it shouldn't be that way, but it is. And then on the other side of it, if they are there, it fires you up. I mean, before the game and coming out of the half, I mean, I can't tell you how many times. That's the first thing everybody does, right? You come out of the tunnel, you look at the crowd. The very first thing you do, you see, mom and dad over there, and then you look at the students, and then you're like, oh man, yeah, nobody's here. Wow. I mean, I don't know, but Fresno, man, shout out to them. And then we've been talking about the Sun Belt. The West is all but wrapped up for Troy. I mean, and they clicked at the right time. I know. I'll tell you this. I've talked to a lot of people at Troy. They wish they could play James Madison again, because that was they were a missed field goal and a questionable intentional grounding call and the last drive of the game away from winning that game. And I think
call PI too.
Yeah, so I think Troy and James, I think Troy wants that. They don't want anybody to doubt that they're the best team in this conference, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen. But then on the East, we've been talking about it. I mean, there's just so many different scenarios that could happen. It is funny though that the key is the undefeated James Madison. That's going to be 12-0, just ruins everybody else's season. But
no, they're not. Coastal's going to beat James Madison last game of the season.
Coastal, I don't know about that.
Just telling you, they got a vendetta against James
Everybody
Madison.
So far that I've thought like this is going to be the one to take them down has just gotten flat out embarrassed by James Madison.
Well, what's going to happen is Coastal's going to be a desperate team. Has to get that
Everyone's
win.
desperate now, Jeff.
Last game of the season. The problem is I don't know who the hell is going to be quarterback for Coastal, but it seems to not necessarily matter.
I saw something. McCall might be back.
He's going to get evaluated, I think, this week. He's out for Saturday, I believe, but he's going to get evaluated to see if he can come back. But, I mean, credit to Coastal going into, beating ODU at home.
Yeah.
And third string quarterback Ethan Vasco, 180 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and then led the team in rushing as well with another touchdown. That is such a hard thing to do. Like, not only if you're the third string quarterback, you're literally getting practice team reps. You're not getting live bullets. Yeah. And he goes in there and does what he has to do. And shout out to the others stepped up too. Sam Pickney had a big game, had a touchdown. I think Jared Brown got banged up a little bit, so that's something to watch. But huge win when they needed it.
I'll tell you who we hadn't talked about, but a stock to buy. A team on the rise.
I already know where you're going.
A team on the rise, Jeff. A team out west that we have made fun of this team. And I tell you what, Jeff, they take a brick, they put it on top of the other brick, and they go in and beat Louisiana by 3 touchdowns.
They sure do.
Arkansas State is back.
1 win away.
Jonesboro is going to build a statue of Butch Jones right next to the waterfall.
1 win away from being bowl eligible. Good for them. Good for them. I'm not a huge fan of Butch, but good for them.
And again, well, we just have it out for them because of the Tennessee days. There's nothing against Arkansas State.
It really isn't.
And to be honest, the more Tennessee fans hate Butch Jones, the more I like him. So,
that's very true. And Tip, you'll appreciate this. Kicker Dominic Zavada, 3 for 3 with a 41-yard field goal and 4 extra points. It's a lot. It's 13 points. That's a huge swing in the game, right?
It's a big day. If you had if you had him in Prize Picks as a fantasy score kicker, that would have been a big time play. By the way, download Prize Picks. Use our code GOFG. They will match you up to $100. It's NBA has begun. Anthony Davis, that guy screwed me over like $600 last night with his piss poor performance against. I should have known against my Miami Heat. But anyway, download Prize Picks. Use our code GOFG. They'll match you up to $100 on your first time deposits. Daily fantasy, player props. Real simple, real easy to use too, by the way. All you got to do is pick more or less on any player, on any type of stat they have for you. So shout out to Prize Picks. But yeah, man, Arkansas State, dude, and Louisiana, they had everything right in front of them. But Zion Chris is out. So they're going to have to go with Fields, I think, this week. So we'll see. We'll see how they bounce back on it. But again, that's what, nobody expected them to be in this spot this year for Louisiana. So you're probably a year ahead. And if you get your quarterback healthy and you keep him around next year, you're probably going to have one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the West. I mean, this Sun Belt, though, I don't think Troy's going anywhere. It doesn't seem like Texas State's going anywhere. Louisiana's not going anywhere. Now Arkansas State, they're like a year behind the East.
Yeah.
Like the East, last year it was pretty much, everybody thought it was App State or whatever, or Marshall, but then Georgia Southern was good out of nowhere. Georgia State's good out of nowhere. Old Dominion is competitive every week. And now same thing's happening in the West. So this Sun Belt is going to be deep. Then you have Monroe and Southern Miss. We'll see what they can do. Which, speaking of, that was the lone bet we lost this week. Was we had La Monroe as the underdog. Southern Miss got that win. Georgia Southern just got rocked by Texas State. Like I said, that's a different team at home though. So they've got Georgia Southern's got who they got this week.
They have.
I don't know. But they got Old Dominion at home next
Marshall.
week.
Yeah.
They're at Marshall. So that'll be the one watch. That'll be the game that Marshall shows up for. Just out of nowhere. I mean, Marshall's in a they are reeling. They are reeling quickly. So if there was ever a time for them to bounce back, it would be this week to just freaking put a damper in Georgia Southern's season. But that's how the Sun Belt's been. I mean, that's how we called it preseason. It was going to be like this. So all these teams are good. But let's get into our Southern Roots picks for the week. Jeff, do we have a Southern Roots radio commercial?
Sure do. Are you tired of listening to the same music playlist? We got just what you need. Southern Roots Radio is an audio magazine rooted in Americana, curating music, culture, and sports to a stubbornly independent audience. Go check them out at southernrootsradio.com, or you can download their app on either the Apple or Google Play Store. Southern Roots Radio. Come on in and stay a while.
Our lock of the week. Unfortunately, after they got a big win, we are going against the Charlotte 49ers. We are taking Memphis minus 9.5 on the road at Charlotte. Like Memphis a lot. They put up 59 points. I mean, if they probably put up quite a bit this week against Charlotte too. And then dog of the week. Not a ton of value in this pick, but we're going to take App State money line in Atlanta. Not confident in that one, to be honest.
Joey Aguilar's been playing good ball.
Yeah, he has.
Which Darren Granger?
That's right.
Is going to show up, I think, is the question on that one.
Yeah, and again, there was more. There's been more opponent fans at Georgia State these last few weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be this week too. I get it. Atlanta is easy to get to. It's pretty central for everybody. Or if you need to fly, it's easy to fly to. But man, you guys got it. That little neighborhood, Summer Hill, right there next to the stadium, is prime for like a great little college football town. But the bars and restaurants in proximity are just like the complete opposite type of environment from a college football environment. And they got to figure that out because it could be awesome. It could be a great spot. Grab some food, grab some drinks, tailgate, go to the game, post game, grab some food, grab some drinks. But it's like, tell you the one place they are watching sheep. You know, when we play golf at Hermitage and there's sheep roaming around on the golf course, it's like they have a live cam of that. And it's just up on the big screen, just in the bar at a brewery. I'm telling you, it's wild. Good beer, though. Halfway Crooks, it's called. Good beer. Good wings, too. But just not the kind of place to go watch a football game or go after a football game, it seems like. And then our over-under, staying in the Sun Belt, we are taking Georgia Southern and Marshall under 57.5. We're just not thinking Marshall is going to score many points. So even if Georgia Southern has an offensive show, Marshall probably not going to be able to score a ton of points. So those are our picks. Memphis -9.5, App State money line, and Georgia Southern Marshall under 57.5. We got to make some picks. I know we got a couple action games going on right now. We got to make picks for the rest of the midweek games. A couple Wednesday games. I know there's a Thursday game. I got to tell you, boys, I am a little ill prepared at the moment.
I got you. You want me to
Tomorrow,
take it? I got it in front of me.
Jeff, come on, dude. I got it now. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night action, Akron at Miami. Everybody in
Miami.
Yeah. Miami.
Bowling Green at Kent State. I'm taking Bowling Green, probably big.
Green.
And then Eastern Michigan at Toledo. I'll tell you what, 18 is a lot of points.
That is a lot.
I don't know about Toledo covering that, but I do think Toledo wins that game. Thursday night, Southern Miss going to Louisiana. Louisiana going to be without their quarterback. Southern Miss coming off a win. Look out now if you're Louisiana, but I do think they're going to get this win here. We're going to find out a lot about the Cajuns as a team and as a culture, depending on how they respond this week. But give me the Cajuns. Y'all like it too?
Yeah, I agree.
And then Friday night, North Texas at SMU. I'm looking for SMU to put some fans in the stands too. I mean, this team's going to the ACC next year, right? They're undefeated in conference. They're arguably the favorite to win the conference. Friday night game, in-state rivalry type game. Get out there and support this team. I mean, because they've had some decent crowds, but not great. Not where you're hearing that pop on the TV. And that's what I want to hear. I hope to hear Friday night. And then I don't know how many Alani news I'm going to have to deal with Wyoming at UNLV. 10:45 Eastern.
I cannot wait.
It's a huge game. That's the problem. It's like this year especially, I feel like these Mountain West games, like I'll be transparent with everybody here. If I'm looking at the Mountain West schedule and I see, it's week 11 and I got Hawaii and Nevada kicking off at 11:45 p.m. I'm not watching that game. But when I got Wyoming at UNLV, 10:45 Eastern, or last week, what did we have? It was a Boise and Fresno game. Was that a late one? That was like a 9 o'clock kickoff, wasn't it? No, it was not.
No,
it was like a 10 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
10 o'clock FS1 kickoff, wasn't it? But yeah, like I'm watching that. And that means like I am literally sitting on my couch until 2 o'clock in the morning. And my child does not give a shit how late I'm up watching Mountain West football. He's yelling at me at 6 a.m. and I got to get up. And Sunday morning, that means I got to make, bacon, eggs, pancakes, maybe.
So make sacrifices, Sprouse.
You got to make them. And you know what? I love it. We're getting close. I don't know what age is appropriate to have him up to watching Mountain West football late. Now that's where, if you're a West Coast guy, that's where I don't know how, like, if you're a West Coast guy and football starts at 9 a.m. on a Saturday.
I loved it. Me and my brother used to get up. Yeah, we used to get up in the morning and eat breakfast and just we used to just chill. It was awesome.
Anyway, Wyoming and UNLV. I like UNLV. They're red hot, man.
Give me the Rebels.
Yeah, Tip.
Same here. Yeah, UNLV. They've been rolling.
Yeah, I like that, and they still are more alive than Wyoming is.
Yeah,
as far as the conference goes. So I think Wyoming. I don't think they're the type of team by any means to collapse or anything like that, but I just think UNLV still has everything right in front of them. We got voicemails, Jeff.
We sure do. We got a handful of them, so we'll knock these out. But we want to get your hottest take, man. If you need to vent, whatever you need, we are here for. So give us a call. That hotline's always available, 615-900-4286. We want to hear from you guys. We talk enough, So, whatever you got to get off your chest, call that hotline. You got 3 minutes to get it in. So, or else you get cut off by the Google monster. I'll cut you off. Let's get to our first caller
The
here.
Google monster?
That's what I call it. It like gives you this weird like, and then it like cuts you off.
Oh, it does. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were like talking to your kid or something.
No.
Google
Like,
monster.
Google
I'm
monster.
sorry.
All right, now you're good. All right, let's get to Baker Loy. First caller.
Group of 5 guys. It's Baker Loy. It's been a couple of weeks since I've called. I guess I got tired of moaning and grunting about my Mountaineers, and I succumbed to the fact that we're gonna have heart attack games every week, win, lose, or indifferent. But on another note, I wanted to call to comment on what you guys were talking about at the end of this last episode, answering Stu's question about, I guess, talking about fumbling and whether or not coaches can really coach that or if that's on the players. I think a common thing that is coming up right now with people talking about Clark is, hey, Clark's not out there playing the game, or so-and-so coach isn't out there playing the game, so is it really that guy's fault? My thing with that, a couple of things. One, my thing is, you're right, he's not out there playing the game, but he also took over the program in, 2020, and yes, 2020 was a weird year, no doubt. But he took it over and has had multiple years of recruiting, and for the most part, it's pretty much all his guys now that he brought in. So he and his staffs that he put together felt that these guys were good enough to play in the program and that they were going to be the players to continue the winning ways. And it hasn't happened. And quite frankly, when it comes to turnovers, I mean, you're seeing players who are having mental lapses in vital times of the game. And to me, that is coachable. I mean, if you got centers and quarterbacks fumbling the ball in a vital time of the game, you get them together and you say, hey, you guys need to take more snaps. You guys need to also, keep it together in tough moments like that. Same deal with Milan Tucker when he fumbled it against Coastal. I mean, you've got to be thinking that somebody's trying to strip you in those tight moments, and you got to do everything you can to be aware and make sure you're doing everything possible, not.
Yeah, and he got cut off there, but I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I think some of it's coachable, but
yeah,
at the end of the
day,
day,
some of the mental stuff I think is more coachable than just a flat out fumble. But yeah, you also have, like, they're probably not going to like this excuse, but you also have, at the same time as he's taken over the program, you have all this other stuff starting to show up. Like, your other coaches didn't have to battle this NIL stuff or the transfer portal stuff. So, and I don't know if that's like, I don't know the numbers on who App has lost or whatnot and all that. But then you also have like the rise of a bunch of other Sunbelt teams. So you're playing a lot better teams too. I mean, if you go, when we first started this group of 5 guys thing, like, you knew preseason it was going to be Louisiana and App State in the championship. I mean, just like, and everybody else was, I shouldn't say everybody else was bad, but a lot of these teams have just all of a sudden gotten really good too. So I think there's a little more competition. I think it's just a combination of so many things.
Yeah.
But, speaking of, though, good news for everybody is we interviewed Sean Clark, and that interview is going to drop on Thursday, I believe. So
Thursday morning.
Listen to the man himself. I mean, we talked a little bit about that, kind of the process of why, some of the struggle, especially early in the season struggles that they've had. So check that interview out on Thursday.
Yep. Appreciate it, Baker, as always. Let's get to one more App State fan. Our boy Stu's right finally with a happy call.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Hey, boys. Stu's right from Twitter here. Finally, a game that I wasn't concerned about late in the fourth quarter. Finally, a game with no turnovers. Oh, man, what a relief. That's all I've got for you today.
Oh, pep in his step, man. Unbelievable.
Finally. Y'all have a good night.
That guy's gone through it the last couple of weeks. So glad to hear him back happy. Let's get to our next one. We got Zachary Branner.
Man, this is your boy Zachary Branner. I'm going to keep it quick. How about them Trojans? Man, Chris Lewis is the daddy of that secondary. A sorry-ass secondary in South Alabama. I ain't trying to insult. Sorry, it's a rivalry game. But damn, he is the daddy of them, okay? Great game. Defense made big plays. Big-time players show up for big games. The games to remember are won in November. Man, it was a great day to be a Troy Trojan. Another win. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep this rolling, man. Forever and always, one Troy.
Appreciate it, Zach. They are rolling. And
Congrats to Kamani Vidal, too. He's at over 1,100 rushing yards.
Yeah. Yep. Big time performance by him. That
all-time leading rusher at Troy, too.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yep. Hell of an accomplishment. All right, let's get to Joe Judkins.
Hey, fellas, this is Joe Judkins calling. First time. Just wanted to say a few things about this past weekend. First off, thanks, Sprouse, for showing up Thursday night. Man, really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Great tailgate, and the game did not disappoint. The best hush puppies you ever ate, or I'll kiss your ass, and the fish was fresh from the Gulf of Mexico. And the atmosphere was off the charts. Some observations I had. Troy's defense is legit. Chris Lewis is going to play on Sunday. And Kamani Vidal is, Kamani Vidal. And Gunner is now Runner Watson. Second, the Sun Belt East is a mess, and we have no idea who's going to come out of there. JMU fans are fucking insufferable. Sure wish we could get them again. Happy birthday to my man, Zachary Brenner. And last thing, South still sucks. God bless you guys and what you do. I rarely miss your podcast, either Tuesdays or Saturdays. Really think you got something going here. And I'm pimping your show like you're wearing stilettos and fishnet stockings. Keep up the great work. I know more about the 70 Group of 5 schools than I ever thought I would. Appreciate that and appreciate you guys. And lastly, South sucks.
Just the man, dude.
Great call.
Fantastic call. Appreciate you, Joe. For real.
Dude, you want to know what's funny is I was talking to Chuck on the field before I went over to Joe and them's tailgate, and he was like, Chuck was like, do you know what Joe looks like? I said, yeah, we met them last year coming down here or whatever. And then I was like, plus he's gonna know, I got the Group of 5 guys shirt on or whatever. And then I was like, well, what is he? And then Chuck made a description, and I was like, Chuck, that's everybody here, brother. That's everybody over 30 years old in this whole town right now. So, but yeah, it was good, man. I'm glad I got to kick it with Joe, and he ain't lying about them hush puppies, man.
Appreciate it, Joe. All right, well, now let's get to Grant, our resident JMU fan. At least he
one of the good
calls
ones.
In. He is one of the good ones.
Hey, gentlemen, it is your friendly JMU fan, Grant Horan. And, I was so ready to just kind of let the whole waiver thing that JMU hasn't gotten drift down the river, let it, move on by, and we all just move on. But after seeing the results this weekend, after seeing JMU absolutely curb stomp Georgia State, after seeing Air Force lose to a abysmal Army squad. Just they shot themselves in the foot in that game without a doubt. And then Tulane barely squeaking by ECU. It is just so frustrating that the NCAA is going to have this archaic rule stop the top G5 team at the moment from potentially playing in a New Year's Six. Honestly, I hope JMU goes 12-0. I'm not going to say we should do some stupid thing like UCF and claim a national championship or claim a national title. But if JMU goes 12-0, we should just go ahead and call ourselves the Sun Belt champions because we are clearly the best school, best program in that conference right now. And it's just garbage that we are not going to have a chance to play for New Year's Six Bowl this year. But we'll see you next year in the 12-team college football playoff. That's all from me. Go Dukes.
Appreciate you, Grant. Yeah, not much you can do about it. But it'd be a hell of a rematch between Troy and James Madison, boy.
It really would. I do want to see whatever Group of 5 team goes to the New Year's Six, like win it. So you do want the best team, but I am confident in whoever wins the American, I'm confident in Liberty. I don't know why people hate Liberty so much. They're good.
Yeah, they're a good ball club. All right, let's touch base with our boys down in Statesboro, Georgia.
Group of 5 guys. Oh, this is going to be a surprisingly calm voicemail. Texas State jumped out on the Eagles pretty early. 10-7 after one. We had the lead, but didn't do anything after that. Did not have a good game all around. It's interesting to see, we had a bye week before JMU after a big win versus Coastal. We didn't play well against JMU. You get a long week after a Thursday night big victory over Georgia State, and you don't do anything the next game. So I don't know what's going on, but just enough of that, flush it down the toilet. You're trying to go 1-0 next week. You got Marshall at Marshall. I was kind of surprised to see App State beating them by as much as they did, but you still gotta win. You gotta win, and you need some people to lose. Sunbelt East is very much still in the picture, and you just got to play your brand of football. You can't turn the ball over, and Davis Brent he's got to be on his A game every single snap. You can't have some of those passes that you're just like, dude, who are you throwing to? Because some of them just aren't even close. It's just straight to the defender. But, Jalen White, he's still rolling. I'm confident in the Eagles, and I'm confident in Coach Helton. We'll get the boys back around. We need some big wins. Season total was at 6.5 prior to the season, and we've got 6 wins right now. We need one more, baby. Need one more so I can get my trip back to Vegas. God bless Georgia Southern. Hail Southern. Go Eagles. God bless the Group of 5 guys. See ya.
Yep, that East is they still got a shot. Need some things to happen, but still got a shot.
They just got to win.
Yep, that's it. All right, let's check in with Jim Cowart.
Group of 5 guys, what's going on? It's Jim Cowart calling you on my morning commute. Man, that was a tough loss on Saturday. I don't know what to say about it other than it was like we just lost all momentum that we had. It was like after we had the roughing the kicker penalty, it just seemed like things just didn't go our way. Can't really explain it. We had the talent to beat Texas State, but we didn't execute, and we paid for it on the road. But didn't watch the second half, so I really can't comment on it. Had a kind of an emergency come up, so couldn't watch the game, but everybody's okay. That's the good news. But anyway, so I can't really comment more than on the first half, but it's just like we just kind of got frustrated within ourselves, and we can't do that, especially on the road. But anyway, I'm going to turn the page. I'm a positive guy. We got a lot ahead of us still. We still have the opportunity to win out. I think Georgia Southern's got the talent to do that. We just got to put a good game plan together. Going to make a comment here. I was on X late Saturday night, and I saw this guy, Georgia Southern fan, made a comment about hoping that a certain player would get hurt so that we could see somebody else play. And there's no room for that shit. So, dude, if you're listening, stop that. Dude, if you've ever played the game in your entire life, you know how hard it is to win a football game, especially on the road. And coming from somebody who's been seriously injured before, you don't want to wish that on anyone. Not on your worst rival or anything like that. So stop that trash. You look stupid, and that's all I got to say. But anyway, outside of that, guys, hope you're having a great week. Everybody stay healthy, and hail Southern. See you on Saturday.
Thanks, Jim.
Great call.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, talk all the trash you want, and I mean, I know most people on Twitter they don't truly want that to happen, probably, but like, so I don't know. Sometimes we get behind Twitter and just think we can say whatever we want about people or to people. So
yeah, like
anyway,
these are kids. These are human beings. Like, chill out a little bit. All right. Anyways, let's get to our last two calls. We got Zach Green coming up next.
What's up, guys? Zach Green here. The fact that the Flames are 7-0 in conference, 9-0 overall, and officially hosting the conference championship game in Lynchburg on December 1st, 7 p.m. The first year in the conference has been, and what an offense we have this season, thanks to Chadwell and Willie Corn and Newland Isaac and all the players. 56 points on Saturday night against La Tech. Most points we've had all season. The second most was 55 against Buffalo. It was a pleasure to be in the stands for the absolute offensive clinic. I think 3 times we didn't score was one a fumble. In the second half, we had one punt, and then the last drive of the game, we just ran the clock out on a few plays and kind of quit on the drive. So score. It was awesome. Shout out again to the offensive line. I'll name some names today. Xavier Gadlin, Xavier Gray, Chase Mitchell, Graham, I believe his first name is Jonathan. There's some people there that I'm not remembering that rotate in, or that I'm not familiar with, but extremely good unit coached by offensive line coach Bill Durkin. Also shout out to the tight ends, Bentley Hanshaw and Austin Henderson. Excellent job this year blocking. Incredible. 3 straight games with over 300 yards rushing. Only 1 yard per game average behind Air Force now in the yards per game. I think we're at 283.3 on the ground. So 600 yards of offense overall. I think 605 overall on Saturday night. Just incredible offense. But great season. We got a few more games to go. Big one this Saturday against ODU. And a little bit nervous for it, but it should be good. Looking forward to it. Hope to see you guys in Lynchburg. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into that, deciding that, but we'd love to see you guys in Lynchburg on December 1st. Go Flames.
Thank you, Zach. We may be up there. We'll see. They're good, though. Yeah, I don't know why people don't think Liberty's good. Like, just watch them
You're
play.
going to get depending on what happens, they play Old Dominion this week, so most of the hate Liberty's getting is from Sunbelt people. So Old Dominion has played everybody pretty tight in the Sunbelt, so it'd be a good. I know those comparisons are not the same, but it'd be a good measuring stick.
Yep, Liberty's gonna have their hands full, that's for sure. Let's finish our last one off with Steeple_PC_51.
Hey, Group 5 guys, how's it going? This is Steeple_PC_51. Yes, y'all can hear it in my damn voice, because I'm about to let y'all have it. I know I usually wait a couple of days so I can assess everything else, but guess what? I'm not worried about anybody else except what happened in Old Dominion. That's right. What happened in ODU, baby? Sitting up there, and they put us in the section next to the cannon with the damn thing blowing up. We jumping, but guess who got the last jump the last minute? That's right. Who got it, family? That's right. I'm with my family. They in the car. I'm calling, letting everybody know. 1-5 was injured. Asked to go back on the field and got that pass from the third string quarterback. Man, my wife was up there crying. The kids up there screaming, how I thought it was going to fall off. Man, look. Try to calm down. Got a bad heart. But, oh, my God. They just want to say something. Go ahead. Say it. Say it. Hurry up. I only got 3 minutes.
Stop beating his hell.
Okay, they're not ready for radio. But anyway, on radio, we want to say, chance up, everybody. I said we were coming. We coming. See you in Conway. Let's go.
Oh, that might be the voicemail of the year, dude.
That was big time. I don't think you could beat that.
So good. They're
And he was right. They're here.
There.
I mean, they're
right
here.
There, winning with backup quarterbacks, man.
Which is something that they couldn't say last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and even when McCall was just banged up a little bit, and they looked. I mean, at the end of the year, when they had Chadwell leaving and McCall banged up, I mean, they looked terrible the last couple of weeks. So, shout out to Steeble. Love Steeble. Great dude, great family, man.
They control their own destiny. They win these last 2 conference games. They win the East. Probably playing Troy.
James Madison, boy.
They're going to take him down.
James Madison's going to just beat everybody. That's all we got, Jeff.
That's it.
That's all we got for you guys tonight. We'll catch you Saturday morning, live pregame show, and then on Thursday we got our interview with Sean Clark talking about how they're right back in the mix in the East right now in the Sun Belt too. So check that out. We need your help. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Or you can go to groupof5guys.com, get you some swag. Got a couple feedback. Got some feedback from some people who got some gear off the new merch website. So it seems like it's pretty good quality, a little better than we had in the past. So check that out. That's all I'm getting for Christmas. New Group of Five Guys swag. But check that out, groupof5guys.com. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all listening. We'll see you Saturday morning.